9 o'clock on the DOT, welcome. Yes, it's that time of the morning when we bring you the press on KAFTAN Television. You're welcome. My name's Mickey Atta, thanking you for joining us. It is already the 4th day of June. My goodness, just the other day it was May. Now it is June, counting down, and we're hoping you're having a very good and successful week. Okay, on the press this morning, we're going to be tackling a whole lot of issues, and I won't be alone to do that. We're going to have a guest in-house who's going to, well, in the studio, who's going to tackle a whole lot of the issues trending in the papers. Insecurity is rearing again. Its ugly head in Nigeria. It's like a hydra-headed monster that just doesn't want to go away. So we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at the issue of the Gales of Defections. And there's a new twist to it yesterday, which you're going to see when we give you the front pages of the headlines. Not to worry, but it's all about the business of automatic ticket. So automatic ticket is also in the news this morning, and a whole lot more. Okay, so that's a teaser for what we're going to bring you. But we're going to do our usual, which is to tell you the weather so that you're prepared for what's happening around your locality and don't get caught up in the rain or in heavy sunshine. From there, we'll look at the front pages of the newspapers, have an interview segment. The phone lines will be open. You call in and we interact. Right, let's just go right ahead this moment and see what is going to be the situation with the weather right now. The weather forecast, there's some places, like I told you, it's going to be, well, did I tell you, it's going to be very bad weather today. Bad in the sense that if you're expecting it to be sunny, it won't be. But, you know, this rain is necessary even for our farmers and for our other crops to grow. Okay, let me start right where I am. Let's start with the Federal Capital Territory, talking about Abuja, and see what the weather is like right here. At the moment, we are talking about a temperature of 23 degrees Celsius on average, but it's a very cloudy day. The prediction for Abuja this morning is that cloudy conditions will continue all through the day. Wind gusts are at 12 kilometers per hour, and the high temperature is actually quite low for Abuja. It's only going to hit 28 degrees Celsius after a low of 21 degrees. So it's a cloudy and a not too sunny day predicted for the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. Let's fly over and see what the weather is like in Lagos. Thank you. Lagos this morning has risen 2 degrees Celsius and has hit 25 degrees Celsius. Lagos is 25 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy in Lagos, and the high temperature expected is 32 degrees Celsius after a low of 24. Well, these cloudy conditions are expected to hit in at 12 noon, and wind gusts in Lagos are at 15 kilometers per hour. Rainy conditions. Actually, Lagos, we're expecting rainy conditions around now. Okay, the latest weather report here says that from now it's raining in Lagos. So if you're in Lagos, my goodness, don't want to step out if you haven't. But if you're out, take cover. It's raining. You have wind gusts quite low at 11 kilometers, but it's a rainy day over there. Let's go over to the coal city of Enugu. Enugu, let's see what the weather is like now in Enugu at the moment. Enugu is boasting 24 degrees Celsius. Oh my goodness, more rain. Rain is predicted in Enugu this morning, but it's going to come around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So if you can quickly do what you're doing, finish and get back home before 4, you'll be home and dry. Wind gusts at 9 kilometers per hour. Not very windy, but very rainy. So right currently it's cloudy. It's going to rain around 4. The low temperature is 23. The high temperature is 29. Let's go over from Enugu further northward and see what the weather is like in Kaduna City, which is a city-state. The temperature there is 24 degrees Celsius. That's the average. It's another cloudy day. The cloudy conditions have set in from now, and throughout the day it's going to be cloudy with wind gusts at 16 kilometers an hour. The high temperature prediction this morning is only 29 degrees Celsius and a low of 21 degrees. From there, let's go over to Kano. Let's see what the weather and the temperature is like in Kano City this morning. We have cloudy conditions expected from 12 noon today. Currently, it's partly cloudy, but the cloudy conditions are expected to continue. Wind gusts are at 15 kilometers per hour. It's also a very, very cool day because the highest temperature expected today is 32 degrees Celsius, very low for Kano, and the low temperature is a degree less than average, which is 24 degrees Celsius at the moment. Okay, let's look at our very last city, port of call will be Admoa State, talking about Yola. The weather in Yola this morning is about the hottest we've had so far. In fact, sunny conditions are expected around 1 o'clock today, so that's probably going to be the only sunny place we have going today. Partly cloudy at the moment, and the average temperature right now is 27 degrees Celsius at this current time. We're giving you this report. The high temperature expected, though, will hit 34 degrees Celsius after a low of 25. Very high wind gusts in Yola this morning. So Yola is just like a departure from the rest of the weather today around Nigeria. Yola is boasting wind gusts of up to 24 kilometers per hour. So it's going to be a windy day in Yola. It's also going to be a sunny day in Yola. Contrast that with Kaduna, because a quick peek at our precipitation expectation level, it says there's 35% chances of rain in Kaduna. So if you live in Kaduna State, you want to wind everything up from 4 o'clock, it might rain. There's a 35% chance of rain coming down over there. Okay, so that's as much as we can bring on the weather this morning. Wherever you are, take precautionary measures. If rain was predicted, you want to stay out of it. If you're in Lagos, it's raining now, well, you should be indoors. We'll tag them showers of blessing. If you are in Kaduna, like I said, rain later on in the day. If you're in Abuja, just expect cloudy and cool weather the whole day. Okay, let me just take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll dive straight into the front pages of today's newspapers and tell you what is in the news for the day. Stay with us.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
And around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are. starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
Glad to know you're still standing by. It's a pleasure to have you on the press this morning. I'm NIGCOMSAT saying, if you're just joining, you are now going into the part where we're going to do the front pages of the newspapers before we will bring in our guests to make sense of what the newspapers are trending with this morning. Okay, so what is going to happen is that we're going to take a look back at what we had for the Monday morning, the Monday morning trending story, because the paper in front of me, which is This Nigeria, is actually giving a rebuttal. Now, if you are a regular on the press, on Monday morning, we were hit with this banner headline. In fact, that took the chunk of our discussion, which said, your government has failed woefully. And that came from the Afenifere to President Tinubu. They said, Tinubu, your government has failed woefully, and that everything being displayed as an achievement is mere propaganda. Well, the presidency has not relaxed over those comments, and this morning they have responded, and that's going to be the front cover of the This Nigeria newspaper this morning. So if This Nigeria could come up, you're going to see the banner headline which says, my government hasn't failed. Tinubu confronts Afenifere. It says here, my government has not failed. Well, here the writer's presidency says factional group's position jaundiced, misleading, partisan, on the side of opposition. Lists growth in GDP, fuel subsidy removal, cash transfer to the poor, EFCC seizures, including suspension of Beta Edu amongst successes. So that story there is on page 4 of this morning's This Nigeria as a rebuttal to the allegation by the Afenifere. They said that the government had failed woefully, not even failed. Tinubu is replying, my government hasn't failed. Tinubu confronts Afenifere. Make sure you pick up this morning's This Nigeria, look at page 4 and find out what is there. Well, there's a beautiful picture story in the front cover of this morning's This Nigeria. You have President Bola Tinubu conferring the national honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, on the co-founder of Microsoft and founder of the Bill Gates Foundation, Mr. Bill Gates, in Lagos yesterday. Now, this story is the best we could have this morning. Bill Gates, as every Nigerian knows, has thrown in, who can count how much in dollars? Millions and millions of dollars. All this, our rollback malaria scheme, everything is free mosquito nets. Oh, it's been hands-on, money on. You know, the type of person said, put your money where your mouth is. That's what he's been doing. Not just that, he also shakes up Nigerian multi-billionaires and says, look, you're not doing enough for your own people. Bring out this money and help. He has been a driving force in a lot of these health issues. And today, after helping over so many administrations, the Tinubu administration has decided to give him an honor, national honor, for what he's been doing for this country, even for the continent. And that, for me, is absolutely the best news I'll be able to talk about this morning, because believe me, there is some very sad news coming in the area of insecurity. So, what can we say in our little corner here? But congratulations, Bill Gates. Bill Gates CFR. Put that at the end of his name. And that's a beautiful one and a well-deserved award. A lot of times we see these national awards going to politicians. Now, this one we can say is very well-deserved. Kudos. Okay, let's go back to the rest of the stories here. EU to spend 10.4 million euro on sustainable energy in Nigeria's healthcare. Oh, more support for our healthcare here. 10.4 million euro to be spent on sustainable energy. Oh, that is so good. You saw all the beginning of the year was back and forth for UCH. We don't have power. We have power. How do we do our operations? So this sustainable energy drive, if implemented properly, will be a very good one for our healthcare delivery. Let's see. It's on pages 5 and 7 of this Nigeria this morning. This Nigeria is very rich this morning, I must say. Well, the writers here say FG saves 12 million girls from cervical cancer in 9 months. Nice. FG dismisses claims linking Mokwa flood to dam failure. Over 200 bodies recovered. Horrible. Niger Commissioner, pages 5 and 9. Nigeria's 1 trillion ambition at risk without policy stability. NGX chairman, tell us something we don't know. Well, that is on page 4, and with that, we're just going to leave the front cover of this Nigeria, and why don't we go over and have a look at our next paper, which is going to be Vanguard. Let's see what the Vanguard has on the front covers this morning. Vanguard is still talking about that flooding. It says here, Niger flood, 1,249 communities in 30 states, FCT, oh dear, at risk. That's coming from the federal government, and the story is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspapers this morning. We have here, they say, no water was released from Kainji, Jeba dams. Notes flood caused by heavy rainfall, heightened by global warming as states take up federal government's challenge. You also have that picture story there. This time, President Tinubu is handing over the certificate of award of the CFR National Honor to Mr. Bill Gates, who in a warm handshake is receiving it from Nigeria's president. Above the masthead, we have some other stories here. COA as Chief of Armed Staff Oluyede relocates to Benue with PSOs. Anti-kidnapping protests uneasy calm as soldiers, policemen take over Abraka. And more on insecurity. Tinubu Matawale should be commended for reinvigorating the Navy. Who is saying that? Find out on page 20 of this morning's Vanguard newspapers as we run along and take a look at the Nation newspapers. Now, the Nation has a gigantic advertorial, so we'll only be able to take the 2 stories on top of the masthead of the Nation newspapers this morning. It says here, presidency is talking to their critics, those criticizing the policies of the government, and it's leading with this story that says, President, bring up alternative policies, presidency tells critics. We have another story there about River State, where we have a picture of the River State Governor Sim Fubara. It says, supporters hopeful as Fubara meets Tinubu. It's on page 2. President hosts Governor Adeleke and brother and Davido. Wahoo! Page 2. See a man diligent in his business. So that's Davido, the singer. Nigeria's a Grammy-nominated singer, going over to meet Mr. President himself. Wow, wow, wow. So that's the front cover of the Nation. The rest are mostly adverts. So let's just quickly run over and have a look at the front cover of this morning's Daily Times. The Daily Times, it's leading with this story that Tinubu's 2-year achievements prove of visionary leadership. Who's saying that? The Information Minister on page 2 of this morning's Daily Times. You also see another bold picture there. The front page picture shows President Tinubu pointing to the cameras and Bill Gates receiving his certificate, flanked by another money bag, Aliko Dangote. Aliko Dangote, incidentally, Aliko Dangote was one of those people that Mr. Bill Gates said face to face, you are not doing enough with your money for your own people. Bring out more money. Let's put this money together. Join yours with mine, and we can do more for more people in Nigeria in the healthcare sector. And luckily, Aliko Dangote rose to the challenge, and that is where it is right now. Okay, let's go over and look at the Daily Sun this morning. The Daily Sun is having a banner headline talking about insecurity killings. Army chief relocates to Benue, deploys more troops and logistics. It's on page 6. The Sun petitions Tinubu, demands state of military emergency as security worsens. We have other stories here. Rivers, Fubara meets president in Lagos. It's on page 26. Tinubu's 2 years achievements supersede Obasanjo, Buhari, Jonathan, Yaradua, and others. We're saying that the Minister of Information, wow, in just 2 years. From the Daily Sun, let's go and look at another paper this morning. Let's look at News Direct, Nigerian News Direct. Let's start from the top before I get to the banner headline. Midterm, you've performed far below expectation. TUC president berates Tinubu. Midterm, the TUC, one of the labor leaders is saying that, man, your performance is way below expectation. He berates Tinubu. It's on page 15. Global trade war, policy instability pose risks to Nigeria's $1 trillion ambition. Find that out on page 17. Shock resignations shake Ondo Assembly as Deputy Speaker, Majority Leader step down. What is happening in Ondo State? They just very recently conducted its governorship election. Now we're having the Deputy Speaker and the Majority Leader stepping down on page 4. A whole lot of political intrigues there. Find out by picking up Nigerian News Direct. Read through the whole story on page 4 of today's paper. We have here again. Oh, we have the picture here of the suspended governor of River State, Dr. Similai Fubara, who paid President Bola Tinubu a visit in Lagos. So we have both of them in a handshake right there. And then the next picture story is the one where the certificate has just been handed over to Mr. Bill Gates, Microsoft kingpin. And then we have Aliko Dangote flanking them in the smile. Ex-core members rejoice as federal government begins payment of 44,000 naira minimum wage arrears. Oh my goodness. So those who were included in the cash, but who were excluded from receiving the cash, are now rejoicing because the federal government apparently has started to pay them the outstanding, which came to 44,000 naira. It's on page 4. Insecurity serious Oluyede, PSOs, others relocated Benue, vow swift end to herders' killings. Okay, so much for News Direct. Let's go over and see what it's like on the front cover of the Matrix this morning. Let's start from top down to then get to the banner headline. NCSP Steel Ministry collaborate to develop automotive manufacturing sectors. State of the nation. Presidency counters Afenifere's claim. Presidency counters Afenifere's criticism. Says Tinubu achieved fiscal improvements, lists other achievements. We have here Mokwa, flood not caused by dam release, Water Resources Minister reveals. Missing 2 AFCON tournaments hurt, serial dresser opens up. Never mind, better luck in the next one. We have here IGP assures Shippers Council of enhanced security for Nigeria's marine blue economy sector. Call me Drake's stepmom. Cora Biddy sparks romance rumors with the rapper's dad. My goodness! Drake's dad and Cora, Nigeria's Cora Obidi. Well, I saw it on the Matrix. I don't know book. Okay, let me go to the banner headline here. It says here, fresh waves of insecurity. Federal government blames Sahel crisis. Defense minister, it's a new threat. We're tackling it. Amid renewed herdsmen attacks, Army chief relocates to Benue. National honors. You're an inspirational leader. National honors. You're an inspirational leader. That is coming from Tinubu. Tinubu tells Bill Gates. Yes. Like this story practically takes the words like from my mouth. Like I said earlier on, it was Bill Gates who inspired our Nigerian money bags to bring out more money, bring out good money, not small little things here. Bring out good money and help your poor people. In fact, this is so true. National honors, you are an inspirational leader, Tinubu tells Bill Gates. Hear, hear. Very true. All right, you'll find that on the front cover of the Matrix newspaper this morning as we run over and look at the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune this morning is leading with all these issues of insecurity. Benue killings. Army chief moves in, deploys more troops, logistics. It's on page 5. Here are the riders. Police relocate area commander tactical teams to troubled local government areas. Gunmen kills 16, burns several houses in Plateau communities. Plateau again. Terrorists kill 3 villagers in Kwara. And a man falls from Cocoa House topmost floor. Oh my God. Hope he didn't fall to his death. Let's leave the Tribune. Let's see what we have in this morning's Punch newspapers. Let's go over to the Punch. The Punch is also giving a flood alert. NEMA deploys teams in 15 high-risk states. You want to find out the states? Pick up your Punch and look at page 2 this morning. As agency warns of fresh, heavy flooding, FG insists on evacuation. Niger recovers more corpses. Oh my God, we had 200 at the first count. More corpses are being recovered. Who knows what the final will be? Is very sad to know. Well, there's another story here, just the rest are adverts. Tinubu and Matawale, or the rest are like pictorials and adverts. Tinubu and Matawale should be commended for reinvigorating the Navy. Deyemi Saka saying, commend Tinubu, commend Matawale. The Navy has been reinvigorated. All right, let's go to our last paper because we're fast coming to the end of the hour, 9:28 already. Our last paper today is going to be the Daily Trust. On the front cover of the Daily Trust this morning, we have here, what I was telling you earlier, no automatic tickets for National Assembly members, APC. The All Progressives Congress is saying there's no automatic tickets for their members. Arafat, Saudi warns pilgrims of heat wave. Oh, there's going to be a heat wave for those who are out on pilgrimage now because the Salah is going to be on Friday. There's a heat wave warning. So people need to do well to take precautions. Parents seek alternatives over prolonged FCT teachers strike. The FCT teachers are still on strike. Now parents are looking for alternatives. This is very sad. Sand heap collapses, kills 11 Almajiris. Oh dear, in Kaduna, the sand heap was probably their only home. Killed 11 in Kaduna. Very sad to hear. Tinubu again, Matawale should be commended for reinvigorating the Navy. That story in many of the papers today. You have Deyemi Saka. We have some other stories just below the masthead. Mokwa, bodies of 7 children. Oh, bodies of 7 children recovered as search continues. Army chief relocates to Benue, 270 killed in 2 months. Rivers, Fubara visits Tinubu in Lagos. All right. So we've armed you with everything that is on the front pages of the papers that we've examined this morning. So keep that in mind as we go into our discussion segment right after this commercial time out. When we come back, we'll be having a guest join us. He's already in the building. He'll be here in the studio. And after the discussion segment, we're going to put up the telephone lines, and you know the drill. Now, when the telephone lines come up, please help us. You turn down the volume on your television set, or you walk away from your television set. You cannot want to hear yourself and also be heard. What you want is for those of us out here to hear you. So when you come on live, you tell us your name and where you're calling from. Don't go straight into the topic that you want to discuss, because you are live and we want to know who you are. All right, that's the drill. So when we come back, we're going to do what we are saying. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
this house. I'm sure the sensei in the kitchen.
Sensei? What's that again?
That's Japanese for master, babe.
Master. In whose kitchen? My kitchen. My kitchen.
Babe. Oh, I know this tastes so good. That smell.
You're right.
Junior, back me up here, son. Kids.
So you think you're master, Abby? Prove it.
With pleasure.
Sensei.
Told you.
Master's instant noodles. Always a delight.
Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at Captain TV. Hello there. I am Ruben Okala.
Hello, I'm glad to have you join us again on the news on the hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan.
I'm there cutting Baba today.
I am Kirian.
The politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omogun. I've not done a change of name.
In Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network.
We always dish out beautiful materials. In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at Kaftan Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At Kaftan TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
Positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on Captain TV, imagine a beautiful world.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at Kaftan Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At Kaftan TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
And around the world to create signal.
At Kaftan Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on Captain TV, imagine a beautiful world.
It's still the press on KAFTAN Television. We're reaching you live from our studios over here in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. I'm Mickey Atta. Right this moment, I'm being joined by Barrister Clem Aguiyi. Barrister Clem Aguiyi is the managing partner of Goldberg & Co. Law Partners. Barrister, Honorable, you are welcome. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Glad to be in your studio with you.
Right, it's a pleasure. Thank you for sparing out this time, because these are, like they say, troubling times in Nigeria with this insecurity. When are we going to be out of insecurity? Well, anyway, like you saw, the covers of today's newspapers had all these headlines showing that the Army Chief relocates to Benue, deploys more troops, more logistics. Benue killings, Army Chief moves in, deploys more troops, logistics, police relocate area command. Now, what do you make of it, especially as per the timing? Benue had been in the news for killings like on a back-to-back basis. It came to a point we even had a caller, I could tell you his name off head, Collins would call all the time, giving us situation reports on a daily of the killings going on in Benue. This happened over months, from March to June. It's now June that the Army Chief is going there. It's now June that the area commander is being removed. What do you make of the timing of the action? Is it timely at any level? Or is this the best time that this ought to be done? What's your take?
Well, let me begin by saying that the security situation in Nigeria is horrible. What is happening in Benue State and some part of Nigeria are absolutely insane, to say the least. The senseless killings in these areas are unacceptable. And it's not just Benue. We have these killings across Benue State, Taraba State, Plateau State, Zamfara State, Kaduna, Katsina. People are being massacred. We have also killings in the southwest of Nigeria. Ondo have not been at peace. Oyo has not been at peace. We have also the Imo, the Enugu, what is going on there. Life in Nigeria has become so cheap that every other day, people are being killed. You're just really asking of the numbers of people that are being killed. Now, back to your question.
Right.
The Chief of Army Staff deployed himself to Benue State. Of course, we've seen this kind of things being done before now. When the current administration came into place, I recall that the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, all the chiefs were deployed to Sokoto in the north. Did that end insecurity there? The answer is no. Nigeria so far has invested 41 trillion in the past 11 years on security. And you find out that the level of insecurity on the ground does not justify this amount of money that has been spent. And you ask yourself again, people will say, oh, this bandit has more superior weapons than our people. They have more advanced technology than our people. I don't believe, personally, that a ragtag military group or bandits will have more superior weapons than our own military that we have invested 41 million naira on, 41 trillion naira on in the past 11 years. So it's not about how much you have thrown to this problem of insecurity. It's how well these fundings have been utilized. I recall somebody have asked, where are the Tucanos we commissioned? Where are the Tucanos we procured? Why are we not using them? Now, you also have seen where some of these Air Force planes were being used. Instead of bombing the bandits, they're bombing villagers. Just recently again, Nigerian Air Force bombed, they say mistakenly, vigilante group that are helping them on the ground to fight these bandits. So why is it that the target is always on helpless villagers, friendly fires against people who are supposed to be assisting you? All these things call for broader investigation, so that we're able to eliminate internal sabotage, which we know is already there. Because just recently, the army also confirmed that they arrested a couple of soldiers up to commander level, police officers who are selling guns, ammunition to the bandits. Civilians have also been arrested who are transporting ammunition to the bandits. And you ask yourself, are we getting it right? Are we safe in the country? I don't think any part of Nigeria is safe. It's everywhere. If you go all over Abuja now, you find a lot of beggars on the street. These are people that are displaced. The IDP camp where they are placed can no longer house them because they're not even being taken care of. So they have put themselves into the streets. That also poses its own security challenges.
Right.
Somebody called me to say that the situation in Lagos is now worse because they have these alberos and they're taking over Lagos. And these are security challenges too. Because the more you have these people who need to be taken care of by society all over the place with no means of livelihood, it's very easy for the bad ones to mix up with them. You don't know who is who. And commit suicide bombing and all whatnot. So we need to actually look at our security policy again, look at our security infrastructure again, and be able to do something more radical, more drastic about it. Because it is not as if we don't have the technology to fight these insurgents and the bandits. We have the technology. It's not as if we don't have the manpower. Our military are more than these people. But do we have the determination? Do we have that patriotism to determine that this is a fight we must have to win? This is a battle we must have to win as a people, collectively. This is what this country needs to look at, because we have to understand that technology and intelligence are pivotal to winning the war against banditry and terrorism. So when you say you are having technology and you don't have the intelligence, the budget money for intelligence, somebody embezzles it because nobody going to ask questions, no fear of consequence. You bring in the technology, it is either not used. When it is used against the civilians that they are supposed to protect. This calls for broader questioning on how we are managing our security issues.
Okay. Well, you know, why I'm having an advantage of having you in the studio is because you once served in the very recent past as a transition chairman of a local government area of your state. So, and you notice these security breaches usually in the other states happen in the local government areas more often than the state capitals, where there's so much security based on the fact that the governor is there. So I want to ask you, what's your first line of, help, reach out, if there's like a security breach in a local government area? Like in the case of Benue, all that happened was that the people just ran out from their houses and went to the secretariats to sleep. That became very risky, so they now started sleeping on the road from these local government areas to the capital. Even that became a problem, and then one day they decided to protest and shut that road off. It's only now action is being taken. So give us what would actually be the correct line of action in a case of, let's say now you are on seat and then there's this big security breach, maybe a contingent of herdsmen just came in, trampled people's farms overnight, and they were all heavily armed and killed some people. What would be the next line?
Well, naturally, this has happened. And when it happens, you want to look up to the Divisional Police Command for assistance. But in Anambra State, we came to one realization that the police, since after the NSAS, are morally down, they are not living up to the expectation. But Anambra introduced a model where we now say the communities have to take charge of their security. And when these communities took charge, the state was able to promulgate a law, the Anambra State Security Law, that handed the security of the communities to the communities. So we have the community vigilantes and the president generals of the town union and the traditional rulers were tasked to be in charge to make sure that nothing happens in your community. The community people were able to bring out, to nominate volunteers who serve as these community vigilantes. The government were able to give them the logistics and support that they needed.
Okay, the government gave them logistics, the government gave them support.
Yes,
all right.
Because every crime is local.
Yeah.
And when these people come, they attack communities.
Right.
So the government went ahead again to establish the local government strike force, which is under the transition chairman.
Okay.
And this is about a 40 to 50 man strike force.
Okay.
So that they act as the immediate response if the community is being attacked. The community vigilante will be there responding to any crisis in their community.
Right.
And they'll be able to inform the local government chairman or secretariat that we're under attack.
Yes.
And then the secretariat will deploy these additional forces.
Right.
And this secretariat will be able to coordinate the other vigilantes in other communities.
Yes.
Put them at alert. For example, Njikoka community has 6, Njikoka local government has 6 communities.
Okay.
All the 6 communities have their own internal community vigilantes.
Oh, okay.
And then the central vigilante control by the local government was codenamed the task force.
Okay.
Strike force. And there were 40 to 50 man. Now, if there's anything happening, for example, in Enugu Agede,
right,
the Enugu Agede community vigilantes will be responding to those incidents.
Right.
And they will be able to radio the secretariat of the local government secretariat. It is now now we can deploy the strike force.
Okay.
And we're able to also put the other communities at alert that there is crisis in Enugu Agede, and if we needed additional manpower to support, we now be able to call from other communities. So there was no sleeping time, and that was how Anambra began to get it right in terms of community security. It's all about determination.
Yes.
For example, in Benue State, I feel pained when I watch the way people in Benue State are being killed as if their life does not matter. And they have a governor. And you ask yourself, what is the governor doing with the security votes? What are the initiatives that he's bringing in place? Let me assume that the federal government is not assisting, is not doing what they're supposed to do. What are you doing yourself with your people to protect their lives? Because that's why you were elected as a governor. Benue State people need to sit down together, their stakeholders, their political elites, the traditional rulers, the youths, they need to sit down together and ask themselves, are you going to be there waiting until you are killed and you die? Or are you going to take your destiny into your hand and protect yourself? I think the people of Benue State have a right to live. Their life matters. And the governor should be able to come up with a proactive initiative. If he doesn't know what to do, the governor of Anambra State is a phone call away. He can call him and ask him. There was a time we were like that.
Yeah.
The water Anambra was in the news for every wrong reason.
Yeah.
And it took some time to tinker around these things, and then the governor was able to come up with a blueprint that was being implemented and is still in place now, and it is working. And we're able to connect the nexus between idolatry and also the criminal activities that are going on. Because some people who claim they are performing voodoos are the ones who actually prepare shams for these bad boys that are doing these things. So we're able to connect the nexus and keep everybody on the run. And at a time, let me tell you, one thing I'm proud about Governor Soludo was that he was able, when he's determined to do something, he's deliberate and he goes ahead and do it. Of course, there will be criticisms. Of course, there will be opposition because some people don't want the state to be stable. But when you're a governor that is focused to know what you want to do, you go ahead and do it because you are there to run on your records. You are there for the happiness of the people. And the primary role of any government is to secure lives and properties. And that's what he has been able to do. And that has endeared him to the people. So the governor of Benue State, even though he's a priest whom I very much respect, he should understand that Jesus will not come from heaven to fight you, because even when Jesus was on earth here, he told Peter, I could ask my Father to send me thousands of angels to come and fight for me. But he never did that. He never did that. So the people of Benue State, every place in Nigeria that is under attack, should adopt a model whereby the community will take their security into their own hands and determine their security and cooperate and collaborate with the police and the military. That is where they are willing, because the previous administration in Nigeria, and I hate to talk about it.
You hate to, but you've got it, so talk about it.
Yeah, why I don't like talking about it, because that is the worst administration that happened to this country. It's a terrible thing that that regime, the Buhari regime, did to this country. He never paid attention to the issue of insecurity. He accommodated it. He allowed it to fester. He treated them as his own people. And at the stage they were telling us these are foreign bandits, they're not even Nigerians. And I wondered, why is it that foreign bandits are getting more respect, more tolerated than our own local people who are law-abiding, who need to be protected? Which country does that? How come you restrict Nigerians from getting food from across the border, but you open the border for everybody that is non-Nigerian, and you know there are problems in the Sahel region, and we know who are causing this problem in the Sahel region. I open our borders for them to come into Nigeria and stay in Nigeria. And when they come, where do you want them to stay? They start fighting the people to be able to occupy their lands. And you know that almost every other militant groups that were dislodged from other countries, like Libya, like Ghana, and all those places that they didn't have a place, they were pushing into Nigeria. And you ask yourself, why is it that Ghana is not having the problem we are having? We are English speaking, we are next door neighbors. How come they are multi-religious like us? They are multi-ethnic like us? How come they're not having the same problem Nigeria is having? Because we have been tolerating idiocy in this country. And most of the time you have seen proactive action taken against some of these enablers of insecurity in Nigeria. It's by foreign country.
Right.
Saudi Arabia just deported one, right, and refused him from coming to Mecca.
Right.
Why come Nigeria?
It was so comfortable for him.
Yes.
He is comfortable for him.
And another bandit, renowned bandit, known bandit, was able to process Hajj fee, obtain visa, flew the wife and the mother to Mecca, only for them to get to Mecca, and they were arrested by the Mecca authorities.
For terrorism?
For terrorism. Okay. But here in Nigeria, nothing. It took UAE to be able to arrest some Nigerians that are conduit in sponsoring the banditry in Nigeria.
Right, I remember.
He's taken Finland to prosecute, and they will prosecute to conclusion one of the characters, elements that are causing insecurity in the southeast. He's not even operating on the ground. He's operating from Finland.
Right, where he's being tackled.
And he's the citizen of that country, and they're dealing with it. Right. But he comes to Nigeria here. The government just does absolutely nothing.
9:56 is the time right now. At the top of the hour, I'll wait till the top of the hour. Let's put the numbers up on the screen now. Let's have the numbers up. Okay, those are the numbers for you. You can call in and be a part of this discussion, because like he was saying, security, he doesn't even need to say security is germane to everything, to everyone. If I'm not secure, I'm not going to work. If I'm not secure, I'm not going to school. If I'm not secure, everything else will rise and fall on my security. In fact, the issue of being law-abiding will be thrown out the window, because if there's a security threat where I am, I'm probably going to do a left-hand driving and all sorts of things. So this is what we're talking about. And I would like especially, be very glad to get a call from you, Collins. Collins, I gave you the opportunity a couple of months ago, and I said to you, immediately we end the show, call back on the studio line. I will give you a WhatsApp number, and you send me live pictures of the carnage. You never did that. So we have to rely on front page pictures of the newspaper. So if you're listening, Collins, I want you to call. Let me know what it's like now in Benue State, now that all these army personnel have been deployed over there, and tell me what it's like in the state, if there's any improvement on security. Oh, we have our first call already. Morning. Good morning. Morning, you're on the line. Hello, good morning. Morning. If you don't speak up, I might have to let you go. Just call back. Do well to call back. Those are the numbers. When you call, please be audible. Speak up. Once the line is picked, you just speak up clearly, because, you know, airtime is costly. Okay. So what will happen now is that we're still going to discuss with you calling on security, but we actually have a whole lot of stuff we wanted to deal with this morning. Okay, let me see if I'll be second time lucky. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Please speak up. All right. So we're going to switch up the topics right this moment because we have so much to put our teeth into and so much to chew. So we were going to look at the other trending topic on the newspaper this morning, which was we've done insecurity. We were talking about Tinubu's administration. So we had a whole lot of people. There was a barrage of criticism, and on the other hand, there was another volley of commendation over the Tinubu administration. So I'd like you, as also, like I said, you're wearing two caps, the legal aspect of it, and also as a government operative, as a political appointee yourself. Give your weigh in on, the Tinubu administration and some of the challenges Nigerians are facing, especially concerning the policy of the removal of fuel subsidy. We can't talk enough about that.
Yeah, we really can't talk enough about the removal of subsidy. And I also am aware that the former EFCC chairman, Buala, or Abala, his name, is trying to release a book on the fuel subsidy scam. And it will be an interesting read to know his own perspective on that. Now, a lot of people have argued, do we have subsidy in the first instance or not, or were we subsidizing corruption? Well, subsidy is good to some extent, and if subsidy is getting to the people, then it's a good thing. But if it's not getting to the people and resolving the issues, then remove the subsidy and use the money to do something better. Now, coming to the Tinubu's administration, it would be unfair for me to use 2 years to assess him and say he has not done well or he has done well. Because some people who are not prepared to govern, 2 years may be a time for preparation, planning, because government is about bureaucracy and protocols.
Right.
So you may not see the results immediately there. But he himself have every right to clap for himself, to say, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this in 2 years. And he has tried to justify his 2 years in office by also saying that, I have been able to give 300,000 Nigerian students student loans. He said, I've created the regional economic development commissions, of which that is benefited. He also said that they have given 800,000 people access to funds, grant them some loans, small businesses, small petty traders. He has also signed, just recently, the assured loan guarantee board, which he put in 100 billion as an initial start. These are all targeted at empowering the people. He has also cited the conviction and removal of some of his appointees, like Bete Edu, from office as an achievement that the war against corruption is going on. He cited the recovery that has been made by EFCC and as part of the effort that he has made. He also pointed out at some of the infrastructures that have been put in place, including local government reforms, which he initiated a case in court granting local government autonomy and stuff like that. But then you ask yourself, why these things he has said is correct, there are also people asking questions, and their questions are legitimate. For example, if you take the student loan that he has said he has given, 300,000 students, and you look at the population of Nigerian students, and you have given 300,000, that number is very insignificant. But again, people are asking, what are the demography? Who have you given this loan? Because, and what have you given to them, so that we know who have collected these loans? It's not about quoting figures that people have taken loans, because many people are saying that they are not even aware that there's an ongoing loan for students. But then you ask yourself again, why are you giving loans to people that they will pay back? When they finish school, they don't get a job. Because the capacity,
oh my goodness.
To pay back the loan.
My goodness. So you're getting this loan, and already you can project it's not even going to be a job waiting for you to work to pay back the loan. My goodness.
Let's go and queue. You're queuing behind them.
That millions of unemployed graduates on ground already.
So how do you pay the loan back? So why not offer scholarship instead of loan? Because the loan that you are giving is not repayable, because these people will not have a job when they leave school, because the graduates you are graduating from your schools are not employable. You are graduating people with no skills, and you say they are giving them loan. A loan should be given in an atmosphere whereby when you finish your school, you get a job. Even when you are in school, you can still get a job. But you are giving loans to people who will never get a job the next 10 years. How will they pay? These are the critical questions that we need to look at, because it's not about looking at a policy somewhere in the world and you bring it to Nigeria to put it. Meanwhile, you have not created the enabling environment that make these things work. When you say that we are giving 800,000 people money, grants for businesses, people are asking who obtained this, because we don't want it to be like what happened during the trader money in the past administration, where we cannot account who actually received the trader money. And the vice president then and the minister for humanitarian affairs said that we're going to the markets and sharing the money hand by hand to people. I mean, and that they were able to share how many billions of naira
by hand
within 2 or 3 hours. So, you know, Nigerians are beginning to ask
questions. Sometimes
they're asking critical questions. They're asking questions. These questions are very critical, because if you look at the way the things he has said he has accomplished, you also ask yourself, because it boils down to, okay, I've increased minimum wage to 70,000 naira. Very fantastic. But what is the purchasing power? What are the price of goods? Everything that you're giving minimum wage 70,000 naira, but they're beaten up by inflation. Yeah. But the 70,000 naira is not even you can't call it a living wage. It isn't too poor to be called a minimum wage, because people cannot even feed with that money for a week. I'm talking about a single bachelor. You are trying to increase electric tariff. You're increasing taxes on people, and you ask yourself, why would they get this money to pay? Why suffocating why killing the people? People are suffering. The level of hunger in the country is horrific. Most young girls are turned to prostitution. Most young men have turned to Yahoo and kidnappers and armed robbery. People in public service, are they looting the money for the unborn generations? People seeking to get into appointments are putting themselves in looking for positions where they can grab. People giving them the positions are collecting money from them, millions of them in dollars, to give them position. How do you think this country will ever be good? If politicians also are going to electoral campaign and are spending billions to become a House of Assembly member or House of a Rep member, how do you want him to represent you well? Because you need to recoup his money.
Then double it back.
And then double it back. And unfortunately, again, governance has collapsed. Because immediately the president and his team saw that some group of people, their former fellow conspirators, are now grouping and conspiring, talking about how to form a coalition government. The government panicked.
How did the government panic?
The government panicked because you can see their panic from their response.
Yeah. What was the panic response?
The panic response was one, they put the country into a campaign mood, election mood. That means effectively you have only governed for 1 year, eight months. And then the rest of the period from this 1 year, 8 months, or call it 2 years, the rest of the 2 years the masses will suffer because politics has taken over. It shouldn't have been so. Because it was the government response that actually is overheating the polity. The government has a job to do. The president have 36 states to take care of. Has about 774 local governments in Nigeria to take care of. Has about thousands of communities of Nigeria, over 250 million Nigerians to take care of. You have to take care of their health, take care of their education, take care of their security, take care of their well-being, take care of almost every other thing about them, plus the foreign affairs, the foreign policies.
Right.
And then you are not doing that. You have a job to do. And some group of people who are out of power, who are jobless, are grouping. And then talking about you are not doing enough. And then you started pushing back in a very drastic manner that make the country now to be in a election mood. And 2027 is still far away. That means, and once you're in election mood, the government become a lame dog. Governance is sacrificed because everything now that the president will be doing, including his policy and decisions, will be dangling towards politics of 2027. No longer the happiness of the people. No longer the tough measures that you need to take to be able to get some of the challenges resolved. These are problems. So the government shouldn't have, if I were the president, if I was advising the president, yes, there will be a response, but not that kind of panic response they did. I will have focused on my job, respond in measured tones, don't attack everything, put your eyes on the ground, listen to critical voices, and take out what you can take out of it. But make sure you do not put yourself in another drive that will overheat the polity, because you have a job to do, and they are jobless. Now, the jobless people have distracted you from your job. And who will suffer at the end of the day?
We, the people.
The people. And why the people are suffering, I will tell you that while the people are suffering all these consequences, 2027 that you are battling for, you will be running as an incumbent president on your records, not on promises, not on speculation. If you come to tell me insecurity, I deal with it, I'll ask myself, can I leave my window open at night? I'm not talking about leaving my door open. Right. Can I travel safely on Nigerian roads from Abuja to Imo State without being afraid of being kidnapped or shot down by the police? If you tell me about the economy, I look at my pocket and see how many naira that is there.
And what it can buy.
And what it can buy. These are the things. Right. Can you buy me the money I have on me buy me a bottle of granite, which is now 3,000 naira? Can you buy me a loaf of bread, which is now 2,500 naira? Can you buy me a bag of rice? When they tell you that the bag of rice has come down, go to the shop and see whether it came down in the shops. When you tell you that, oh, we remove fuel subsidy, and for you to fill your gas tank, and you know that fuel is a driver to inflation in Nigeria. If you use that 40,000 naira to fuel, it doesn't last for 2 days, and your minimum wage is 70,000 naira. I mean, come on, tell me. People will be able to tell themselves the truth. So forget about all this jumping, and the government have a lot of work to do. And if I were the president and the incumbent administration, I will focus on the job or the mandate given to me by the people and deliver on deliverables that are measurable. So
deliver on deliverables that are measurable.
So that at the end of the day, you're going to run on your record. You're going to present your scorecard. People will look at it and say, oh, well, our education system is good. Not the kind of education system where WAEC is setting, putting exam by 1 a.m. And students you want the student to pass, and they're writing exam with lantern. And JAMB is telling you about glitches and malfunctioning and human error that led to mass failures. And without putting that into consideration, many people will not go to the university. And these students that were writing exam were writing on the day they are writing English, which is compulsory to get admission.
Yeah.
So if they do that,
which are they going to take? Which are they going to choose? You put them in a catch-22 situation, and at the end of the day, it's going to be some.
So we're suffering a collapse of our critical institutions. And why the one of education bothers me, I will tell you, is that we don't have alternative to education.
Yeah.
Because the only thing we can invest in today that we can benefit from tomorrow, assured, is education. If we don't have the trained manpower, educated manpower that are employable, this country is gone. Every other thing we're talking about here is just grammar. But education is very, very important. And we're failing in that angle. And JAMB and WAEC are leading the way. And people are keeping quiet. They don't see the catastrophe they are causing. They don't see the danger ahead of us. There is a very big, dangerous curve ahead of us. And we must look at it and understand that we need to do something to save the future generation, because our own generation is gone, wasted. We are now way out of this planet. But what about people that were following us, that we are leaving behind? Are we going to condemn them the same way we have condemned our own lives? It's not fair. Now we're eating their lunch, and we're about to eat their dinner too, and they have no future. And then we expect them to give us a glorious exit. It doesn't happen that way.
Doesn't happen that way. I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't fault anything you've said. Well, let's say we have like less than a quarter of an hour left. Let's see, can we just bite our teeth, since, you know, everybody wants to be talking about the 2027 from presidency down, the newspapers everywhere, it's all the front page news. So can we just put a little bite on our teeth, like you were saying about these gales of defections and everything going on? Well, a new twist came up yesterday. Now, the All Progressives Congress, in fact, I was right by their headquarters yesterday, and I saw them all coming out, you know, in their meetings and all that. Well, what they came out with is that APC rules out automatic tickets for NAS members. In fact, this morning's Leadership newspaper puts it this way. Maybe you could just help us with Leadership. It says here, 2027, APC rules out automatic tickets for Akpabio, Abbas, other lawmakers. So they're saying, even you, President of the Senate, no automatic ticket. Even you, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker, no automatic ticket. And these are the people, to show you, are they giving us stories, or are they bamboozling us? Because these are the same people. The ones even mentioned, Akpabio, he's the one who turned to Tinubu and said, you are having automatic ticket. So is it not rub my back, I rub yours? What is going on in the APC? Now they're saying no automatic ticket for the House of Reps. In fact, the whole of National Assembly, Senate and the Reps. But the people there are saying to the presidency, oh, you can have an automatic ticket. And usually this goes by rub my back, I rub yours. Because next, like you said, the polity is being heated, it's going to be heated more, because they're now going to go through their governors and put a foot down. If we don't get our own, you are not going back. You know, that kind of a thing they're trying to do. So let's even look beyond the defection. This one is going, now one is coming in. Look at the new twist that they're giving us. What's your take on that? We have, you know, just a couple more minutes to talk on that, and then see how we can.
Yeah, the truth is about politics is about contest. Internal democracy is about contesting every space in the public that's available for the office. That somebody is elected to go and be a House of Assembly member doesn't mean that the seat has become permanently yours, whether you speak in the House or not. The people in the local areas want who will go there and represent them very well, not who will be driving the best cars, or who slept with each other, or who didn't sleep with each other. This is not what the people want to hear. So if you are going there to represent the people, you represent them well, and you shouldn't be worried about your space being contested, because if the people want you, they'll put you back. And usually, there has been no automatic ticket for these people that actually are in the National Assembly or House of Assemblies. No. They have to contest their space if there's anybody there that has enough muscle to challenge you. And you have not done well, your people will tell you that is what democracy is all about. Often, the president...
Ambassador, are you talking of Nigeria? You're talking of Pluto? No, that doesn't happen at all. That doesn't happen at all. No. What happens is that when you let's say now there's like the change of a government cycle, right? And you've gone into the House of Assembly, or you've gone into the National Assembly. Well, all you have to do is just, keep yourself, in the governor's good books. The governor shares the tickets. So if you're in that party, you understand, and you're there, Oh, you just just keep yourself very, very close and chummy and pally-pally with the governor, and it's pally-pally government, and you get the ticket back. Now, if there are other people who want to contest, if they contest the primaries with you, it's going to be a case of the governor's pal will get like 100 votes, the next person will get like 16 there. So this person now, the one who knows is bound to get 16, which means he has an upper hand, will now jump and now defect to another political party. Because he's the people's choice, he knows it. All the people now will swarm and vote for him in that party. This is a trend. Let me just plot it for you. Let me plot the graph. You will see that that's what happens. So now when they go, maybe they go over to a party like YPP. So you now say, oh, such and such a person is senator, this is representing that area in YPP, while the governor there is probably, APC or something else. Guess what? Then when he now gets in, he will jump back to the same party that gave him shaky, that wouldn't even give him the ticket, even though you were the man of the people. So the ticket now is a governor share ticket, governor shares a position, governor does all the primaries. You've known the primaries beforehand. So it's not a case of you go there and work hard. No, you parley with the governor. That's what's happening now. You parley to him, you get ticket.
I am not dismissing what you're saying. I don't live in an alternative world.
Okay.
I don't live in Pluto.
Okay.
So what we are discussing here is not what is going on. What we are discussing here is how it ought to be.
No, let's discuss how it is to move to where it ought to be. Let's go from where it is now to where it ought to be.
What I'm trying to tell you is that it is not always the way you look at it. And I'll give you an interesting narrative.
All right.
To let you understand that there are where we have party supremacy. The relationship with the governor does not matter. The party is supreme.
Right.
Even the governor is not sure of his own ticket. Even though very often it is taken for granted that an incumbent governor or president gets right of first refusal.
Right.
Why do they do that? Because he's controlling resources.
Right.
He has extended goodwill. He's already in the position.
Right.
And again, the ordinary people find it difficult to make a change. They always want to adapt and let this person continue for the next and finish it and go. So it is even the people that are causing it, because it's not an entitlement. What interesting narrative I said I'm going to share with you this morning is that the Lagos State is about having their local government election. Almost all the candidates that were rooted to Governor Sanwo-Olu were edged out during the screening. These are the governor's candidates.
Yes.
Due to internal party realignment and pressures and stuff like that, I don't know exactly what happened there to begin to make a claim. But somehow the governor does not have control.
No. Lagos is a wrong example.
No,
I may not go into that.
I'm giving you an example of Lagos.
Don't give me Lagos.
I'm not saying that governors don't share tickets. Of course, governors have enormous power to share tickets. But there is an extent this goes. I said where there are party supremacy. And we need to practice a democracy whereby the party is supreme.
We need to.
And I will tell you, very often, when you have a strong candidate in a free and fair election, and if you don't perform well, you go out there to face the people. The people will vote you down.
Yeah.
The party loses election.
Yeah,
so it is even in the interest of the party.
Yeah, absolutely.
To let you go through the primary.
Right.
And if you go to the primaries and you succeed, you don't face the people.
Right.
It makes it easier for you to face the people and see whether the people. And again, the party primaries are always catch and carry again. It's not even what the people want. But let it be as if there's a semblance of internal democracy. So APC coming up with that policy, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
That you don't have automatic tickets.
Right.
That will make these people that are there to sit up and try to also work for the party.
Right.
Some people get elected into positions. They don't even think about the party. Not thinking about the people. The party gave you a platform. You got in there and you abandoned the party to wait after 4 years to come for the party to give you tickets. Automatically. No, it doesn't work that way in democracy. So the party have right to say, you know what, go and face our primary. So what I try to say here, while you are there, remember you have a root. And the root is a political party.
Right.
Your loyalty is important to the party. The party manifesto The party ideas are important. If you go there and when it's time to vote, you are voting against the ideals of the party. Because you got into that place in the first position because you believe in the party and their party agenda.
Right.
And if the party is not able to serve the agenda to the people, the people will vote the party out.
Right.
So the party
it's not about you, it's about the party.
It's about the party.
Yeah, that's what the people just don't seem to realize. You remember that in the case of Governor Amechi? When he was the governor, as soon as he was, PDP then was declared the winner. President Obasanjo came up and said, oh no, there's a little K-like here, I'm just going to give the ticket over to Celestine Umar here, unilaterally. So, already election was just, coming right behind the primaries.
Yes.
So now they conducted the election, PDP won. That was how Amechi left the country. In fact, he couldn't even leave, the embarrassment and everything.
Yeah,
and luckily, then, there was, good enough judgment, and the judgment came out and said, no, listen, these elections are conducted on party basis. We don't have, individual candidates. So if PDP won, number one, Amechi won the primaries, number two, Amechi is the person to be sworn in as a governor. That's how he came back in. On the back the fact that it was PDP, not Amechi, not anybody. It is a party. So this is what our politicians really need to learn. Like you said, some people come in, jettison the party, not to talk if it's the people. People care. Do they even remember the platform that they came in? And like you said, they really need to remember that. We are having exactly 1 more minute. So just give your last word to Nigerians and we'll have to close the show.
Well, maybe next time, some other time, we'll be able to clarify the Amechi's
some other time. Let's just end this one. I'll have you back.
Reversed themselves on that very judgment. But having said what I said, I just want to say that the security situation of Nigeria is horrible, and we need to actually work on that. And the government needs to step up their game on this issue of insecurity because it is spreading. Let us not just say it is Benue. No, it's not just Benue. It is almost everywhere in Nigeria, and it's shameful, to say the least, that we have Nigeria as a country, and we have the military, we have everything, and yet we cannot be protected. People are just living, waiting to die in this country, and it's insane. It's horrible.
It's not fair. How can people live? You live and you're just waiting to die. It's such an ugly situation. So this morning, it's been a pleasure to have you as we delved into the issues of worsening insecurity. We've talked about democracy. We've talked about the Gale of defection. We've talked about automatic tickets. We've talked about 2 years of President Tinubu administration. 1.5 hours still, it seems, never enough. So, Ambassador, I'm going to appoint you as my, you're going to be my guest plenipotentiary. That's going to an ambassadorial position. So get that from me, please. Anytime I need you,
thank you.
More light on this, especially like you said, we've got to talk about the end of this Amechi decision. Okay, so that was Barrister Clem Agui, the managing partner of Goldbadge and Co. Law Partners, an immediate past transition chairman in Anambra State, one of the local government areas, a public speaker and analyst. You see him all over. You see him on AIT, you see him on all the other TV stations, and it's an honor for him to join us right here on Kaftan Television. I'm Nikieta. I want to thank you, Hanyi. You did a wonderful job this morning. Thank you very much. All of you behind the scenes, the cameramen, everybody who put this together. Thank you, Victor, for giving us live streaming. A click of the button. Just go to Kaftan page. Go to Kaftan live stream. Just click. We're right there. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful morning. I don't know what happened to network. We couldn't even, the calls, the few that came in, we couldn't hear them. Sorry about that. It's from the network, not from me. I'm Nikieta. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Let me say from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let it be prosperous for you. God bless. Bye-bye.
the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at Kaftan Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At Kaftan TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At Kaftan Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on Kaftan TV, imagine a beautiful world.
But all I know is in this house, I'm sure the sense in the kitchen.
Sensei, what's that again?
That's Japanese for master, babe.
Master. In whose kitchen? My kitchen. My kitchen.
Babe. Oh, I know this tastes so good. That smell.